So if we want to think about motivation, what motivates gifted students, uh, there are many ways to look at motivation, by the way, many theories, but one of them is intrinsic or extrinsic. Now, intrinsic motivation is these are people that get meaning from the work that they do on their own. The work they do, it has to become meaningful in the sense that okay, what am I getting out of this? What's the purpose of this? There is a higher purpose when I learn, and the finding these things out is creates a lot of pleasure. So these high levels of curiosity, challenge, and a desire to know for the sake of knowing. Those are very much intrinsic motivators. Extrinsic motivation is for validation from outside or for other things, such as grades, certificates, degrees, a cookie. I don't know. You can have a lot of things that you can motivate, incentivize yourself. If I do this, then I get that. And so they could be social or physical motivators, whatever. If I do 1 hour studies, I can go and watch a half an hour show on TV. So so these are the extrinsic motivators. They tend to be a bit more. Sometimes can be a bit more social, but they are less meaningful for gifted students. So if you give a gifted student an A, they say, okay, thank you very much, but I mean, I want to learn about much more about this. They could have that extrinsic motivation doesn't really fulfill their needs because they have something a greater interest about it. Now that's on motivation. If you think about energy, they get energy from being on their own, which is more the introversion instead of extroversion. So they are on their own doing their work. They are finding things out. They have this sense of agency and responsibility. But getting to know this extroversion, meaning getting energy from other people and helping people or getting people to help me, well, that doesn't really energizes them. In fact, sometimes in high school, what happens with some of the gifted, because they're very good at doing things, teachers use them as teaching assistants, and they suffer this thing. They suffer it because now you're asking me to do your job. No, thank you, because I have to interact with these people, and I have to explain to these people. And so, unless they are socially very well developed, they could suffer that type of work. They prefer what we call independent projects that are well designed. Of course, if you have something that is a bit of a waste of time, they will notice that very quickly. So they don't like to be told, okay, go to a library and find things out. This is more or less like, so what is the purpose in this? What are you going to find out that it can help you understand the bigger picture? So this type of challenge they like more. It's more working on their own rather than with other people. So this is another way to identify them. Now, if you think about the trouble traits, their intensity, they can come on as very strong and intuitive. They because they sense things, they could sense things very strongly, like sounds, taste, touch, visual, all these senses. They could be in other words, it can be too much for them. Or the room has too much noise. Well, for the rest of the students, it's not too much noise, but for him, it or her, it is. Emotionally, they are easily hurt and they feel deeply about things. So maybe some words that you can use with other students, they take it okay, but for the gifted students, they make a world out of this. The teacher said this thing, maybe because they give so much value to words. They can be different, successful in many different things. So it's not only one thing, even though that's the easiest way to identify. Okay, this person is gifted or talented in certain areas, and that's why they put the word gifted and talented together, because giftedness is more connected with cognitive abilities, but talents could be a musical talent or a dancing talent. And the high level of imagination, cognitive, emotional, the energy. So these are people that if you let them work on their own for 3 hours, they can do that. and they're very happy doing that. So over excitabilities by Dabrowski, that's one of the readings. They can be intellectual. So I'm just going to give you a few descriptors of some of these ways that these things work. For instance, I was talking about curious people wanting to know, the love for theories, and of course they love to read. And if you give them a book, that's the best gift for them. But they also have a sense of this moral thinking, what is right and wrong, which has to do with how they feel, is emotional about how things work in life. Emotional. By the way, I just made a change to that slide, that assignment, and I put At the Gate of Eternity. It's a movie that also can be watched. It's the life of Van Gogh, and that shows, the reason I bring that up is because that shows emotional over-excitability very well. So they get very attached to relationships, but they have very few friends. These people, but very close friends, and find it difficult to adjust to new environments, because they feel inadequate, and that could be because they don't see that people view the world in even a way that is close to the way they see things. So, and I think that has an emotional component to that. Okay, about feeling not in the right place, not belonging. In other words, imaginational, having a friend, a fantasy friend, dramatizing things, and being able to visualize things very, very well. So if they are verbally, which they tend to be verbally very apt, then they can be very good storytellers. Tell me the story. The only thing is that if you tell a gifted kid, tell me the story, what happens? Sometimes what happens is that they will tell you 50% of the story is the correct thing, and the other, or 70% is true, it's factual, and 20% added. They made it up. That's the difficult part. So we talk about sensitivity, sounds of words. So of course, if they love sounds of words, maybe they could become composers, so they write songs, singers, or poets, or writers. Okay, that's a possibility. So all these over sensibility or excitability in terms of the sensual component creates a lot of experiences for them, and a lot of places where it enables them to learn maybe more out of things, but it just takes more for them to process. And that's why could be that they don't like too many changes too fast. And the last one is psychomotor, rapid speech, competition. I mean, if they love sports, definitely these are the people that are going to be running all the time and in love with fast games. But again, you will say this doesn't seem to add up with the development. Well, it's when the people that are gifted or talented in this area. Okay,